just to bring folks up to speed, we were considering the advice of our attorney on how to proceed with the Conway contract, given the discrepancy in our understanding of the terms. And he had gone back and forth with their attorney, and essentially they are not going to budge on whether the capital improvement plan numbers will be included under the 20% or not. So we have decided as a board, because we think that it should be up to the voters to move the contract forward with that understanding that it will be with their terms instead of ours, and we will leave it to the taxpayers to decide. And so at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to rerun all the numbers, and we'll make sure that there's a very clear understanding of what the contract terms are and what they mean and what their impact will be, so that folks can see them. And but we feel it's in the best interest of our students in our town for it to be left to you all instead of us pulling the contract out right now because of a discrepancy. So, okay. With that, we're going to turn to the Jackson School District warrant, and we're going to go through the articles. I can take a motion to approve them and then go one by one.
Are you going to do policy first, or are you going to table that to later and move it to?
Let me see. Oh, I thought we had to do the warrant. The warrant was next. I thought we were just the warrant was not on. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. So I guess we'll hold on that. So okay, then we will. Let's just follow the agenda then. Sorry. Okay. I do have a question about the proposed budget. That RSA 189.76, that report that we're meant to send and share with the public, where is that? Is that forthcoming?
Yeah.
Okay. When do we think we'll have that for the public?
It gets posted with all of the documents.
Okay.
We will have it before then, but it's required.
Once it's in the draft,
Okay.
prior to posting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the sooner that we could see that, that would be
Can I
better.
just make a request?
Yes.
I really want to see revenue. I felt like we asked several times to see a revenue in the budget and like line by line what we're getting revenue from. I've also asked if we can see after school as part of that revenue, and every time there's a summary, it doesn't show up. Like when in the executive summary, it says we get revenue from the Whitney Center and so A, B, and C, but after school programming, I know as a parent I pay it, so it's revenue to the school. I think we need to do a better job demonstrating the revenue, and every time I do, as a CEO, a budget, there's revenue that's shared more directly. So that would be important, and I think that we can also put that in the summary, and we can put that in the why am I tired? In the thing that I made at the beginning, which we call a presentation. That'd be great.
So how can we just make sure to follow up on that?
Are we need to have a motion, or can?
Okay, Pam, put on the task list. Okay, thank you, Pam.
Do you want to put like a current revenue similar to how we do the budget status report, like a current look at the revenue, or do you want more of that estimated revenues?
I think both. I think current and then also the estimated, just so that we have that information in front of us, because there is revenue, but it's always like, there's revenue. It's like, what is it?
Yeah, and it was in some of the tax comparisons that we sent out.
Yep.
It didn't break down more of the local revenue. It was
Yeah.
sort of in pieces like swept.
Yeah,
and,
which is exactly, but I think some of that local revenue is also, it's helpful, right? Because it's transparency, and it tells this, we're also saying, hey, there's an after school program and parents are contributing to it. So.
Would it make sense to do it as a FY 26 projected revenue and then an FY 27 projected revenue,
Sure.
kind of like we do the projection for expenses?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to the agenda and get back into our routine here. So old business, we had added the contract update.
Jeff, I don't think you approved the minutes yet.
No, we didn't.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from 1/20/26.
Do I have a second? Any comments, questions? All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, Melissa, thank you. Well, it really takes a village tonight. Apologies. A lot of balls in the air with all of this. Okay, so we've already talked about the visits and the coffee chats, and we've given you an update on Conway, so that's where we're at with that. The next item that we had added was the joint co-curricular. And essentially that was an issue that was brought to us about talking to Bartlett about possible consideration for Nordic. And was it Alpine? Do you want to give us an update on that?
Sure, so you had tasked me with going to the Bartlett School Board to ask about a contribution toward paying for the Nordic coach because Bartlett was unable to have their own team, so Jackson took it over, and there's 7 students from both districts, 7 from Jackson, 7 from Bartlett, who are participating. And so I was asked to go to Bartlett to see if they would contribute toward the cost of the Nordic coach. And they requested that there be a joint co-curricular meeting to talk about how the 2 districts share resources when it comes to buses and coaches and programming and things like that. I think part of it is that billing back and forth would change the relationship that both districts have had with each other over time. And so if they were going to contribute toward this, I think it's worth a conversation about what other things are we billing back and forth for that historically we just haven't, because it's just been a neighbor with neighbor helping each other out kind of a relationship.
I think that's a great idea. I am aware that there are gonna be some changes anticipated on the Bartlett School Board that specifically affect the composition of the co-curricular committee. And so I think it's a great idea. I'd love to participate in dialogues, but maybe it should take place after the new co-curricular committee is seated so that we can have continuity.
Okay, and we'll have a similar situation because we will have ideally a new board member. So could you set that up for after March?
Yeah, it's not just co-curricular too, though. I think the bigger picture here is that we share resources that go beyond the co-curricular piece too. Transportation is a great example. Just a couple of weeks ago, Jackson was using a spare Bartlett bus at no charge. So I think it's a bigger conversation about, this is relative to programming and co-curricular as it relates to the Nordic program, but even with the Nordic co-curricular, Bartlett's busing kids 200 miles round trip between 2 longer trips for the Nordic races and another trip to Whitaker just because they happen to be going by. So it's this back and forth piece, but the transportation and sharing of those resources should be discussed as well. So we can start with the co-curricular, but it's a bigger conversation, I think.
Yeah, Amy, I appreciate your sharing with the Jackson community the things that Bartlett is doing for the Jackson community, but I noticed that you haven't really mentioned the things that Jackson is doing for Bartlett, like the fact that Bartlett has had 100% turnover in their bus driving staff over the last year, and each time Bartlett loses a bus driver, Jackson's bus driver staff is tapped to fill that need. So, so I think that I, as a board member, would appreciate balance in those descriptions of the sharing that goes on, as you say.
So why don't we go ahead and set up a meeting? And one thing to consider is, as we're doing this, is what is the relationship in terms of what's being, contracted for on the Bartlett side, and what is just given gratis on both sides. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess my goal is for us to help each other out and pool and share resources as much as we can.
Okay,
Thank you.
that sounds great. So, all right, so Amy, you'll follow up on that to set that up? Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go on to instructional issues. Consider the first reading of policies. We don't have any at this time, but we do have a second reading of policies. Nicole, do you want to take this?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion, if possible, to approve a list of the following policies in a batch for second reading. JLCD, administering medication to students, JLCE, emergency care and first aid, EHB, data and records retention, JEB, ECE, program enrollment guidelines, age of entrance, and JEBA, enrollment guidelines.
And a second?
Okay, is there discussion on that? We've had a lot of discussion at the policy level and in meetings, nothing has changed since the first reading, is that correct, Nicole?
That's correct.
Okay, so all in favor of that? Okay, that's unanimous, Melissa. Okay.
Kudos to policy for doing such a good job.
Thank you. Really, Nicole, thank you, because she's a steady steward there. All right, let's turn over to business affairs. Budget status report?
Yeah, so there is the budget status report, which was run the end of last week. No major changes at this time. There is approximately, after encumbrances of all payroll, known expenses such as tuition, services, there's approximately 13% of the budget, or 13.8% of the budget remaining, which we'll continue to monitor on a monthly basis and report if anything significant changes.
Okay, any questions, comments? Okay. All right, so we'll turn our attention to the signing of the 26-27 warrant and budget forms. And while we do that, I just want to take note of Hank over there who's been videotaping for us tonight. And thank you, Hank, for sticking in there with us so folks can keep up on what's happening. So we'll go through them essentially one by one. We're, majority vote required. So Article 1, see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $4,066,810 for the support of schools, for the payment of salaries for school district officials and agents, and for the payment of the statutory obligations of the district, with $21,000 offsetting this amount from various grants. This article does not include appropriations voted on in other warrant articles.
Are we reading motions? Or are we just voting?
I think we can just vote on it, can't we? We need a motion to
I would
approve
make
it.
a motion to open them all up and vote on them individually.
Oh, okay.
So I make a motion to open them all up and vote on them individually.
Okay.
Second?
All in favor? Okay, so we've already talked about Article 1. So all in favor of Article 1, recommending it, that's 5. Unanimous. Okay, Article 2, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the Capital Reserve Special Education Fund, previously established for this purpose. We have all in favor of that? I just want to comment, I think, I appreciate the thought that went into this because it's hard to see numbers like $50,000 added, but I think it's really important to be cautious here and to keep adding to this so that we can try to keep a balance and avoid big spikes up and down as much as possible. So that's all in favor. Was everyone unanimous? Okay. Article 3, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $3,000 to be added to the Whitney Maintenance Trust Fund, previously established for this purpose in 2010. All in favor of that? That's 5. Unanimous. Article 4, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the Expendable General Trust Fund, which is the school building maintenance fund established for this purpose in 1996. All in favor of that? That's unanimous as well, Lisa. Article 5, to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $15,000 to be added to the School Bus Capital Reserve Fund, previously established for this purpose in 1988. Just a question, is that enough to be added to that fund?
We decided to cut it in half or cut it by 10,000 at least, just because it was a tricky year, and we thought maybe we didn't have to put quite as much in this year.
And, yeah, thank you. But we sort of looked at the vintage of our buses and the maintenance schedule and things like that, and we were reassured by Michael that was not irresponsible to cut that back.
Super, thank you. Okay, so all in favor of that? That's 5. Okay, so this is Article 6, this is the open enrollment article. Shall the Jackson School District designate the Jackson Grammar School grades kindergarten through 6 as an open enrollment elementary school, continuing to allow 100% of district's eligible residents to attend Jackson Grammar School as assigned, and further to allow non-resident students to apply for admission and enroll in Jackson Grammar School subject to the school board approving admission criteria, limiting each grade enrollment to a maximum class size, and setting a maximum school enrollment as it deems appropriate, and further to limit the percentage of resident students grades kindergarten through 12th grade attending open enrollment schools located outside of the district to 0% of the district's total enrollment.
So my question is, if we go forward and things change, can we amend the warrant? Or we would explain that, like, how do we have them, how the heck do we do this considering?
Maybe the law would just supersede whatever.
Yeah, the law could mean that we wouldn't have it.
Right, so the law can change and the warrant article may become illegal, in which case we would not put that forward, or there would be changes that we would need to put forward. The body can make changes, that meaning the people can make changes
Okay.
that night. We would be recommending this as written though, so we
Okay.
would be looking to make changes.
I think we
down the
need to
line.
recommend it as written, and then I think we need to count on the body to make a change if we need to, like if
Right.
something happened,
Do you wanna
or
clarify?
we would be out of, or it would go away if it was no longer necessary, right?
That's right. I'm thinking about this as you're talking and wondering if it would be helpful to reference the RSA that this was written under, which is the one currently in place, 194D.
Oh.
That way, if another
Okay.
state statute goes into effect that's not, or in conflict with 194D, that I can
Kind of make it
more
more-
grounds
To change it, that'd be great.
or it
So
So
maybe
let's amend that.
start it with pursuant to RSA 194.
Yeah, to see if the district shall vote to
Thanks,
adopt the
Amy.
provisions of NHRSA chapter 194D and become an
That
open
D
school.
will be
D.
As in
D,
dog.
David, dog.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that's, thank you, Amy,
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's a really great suggestion. And I also wanna just clarify, so if we recommend this warrant
Yeah.
and the voters approve this warrant,
Mhm.
does that mean that Jackson Grammar School then would have to accept any student?
So under 194, it means we set the terms of inflow of students with our
So-
policy.
So even if we recommend it
Mhm.
and the voters approve it, there could be a situation where the school board or Erin and her staff decide it's not right for the school to accept any open enrollment students, or they could make a different decision. Is that right?
Well, it would have to be set by policy, so if she couldn't make the decisions year to year by herself, it would have to be, we have a policy that's clear, it has to, the requirements for students gaining admission are actually pretty detailed, meaning they have to, you can't differentiate or discriminate between students based on certain things, for example. So we have to be very clear to comply with the law, and it would have to be at the board level that we're setting the policy,
Okay.
and then she would follow that.
So should we understand this basically as putting the school board and Erin and Amy in a position to create terms, but not obligating us in any way to move forward?
Yeah, and I know we've all been here for a long time tonight, but this is really important, and this is something that the policy committee spent a significant amount of time on. Obviously, we've all been sitting in on webinars on open enrollment and all of this. I don't want to put you on the spot, Nicole, but I think you have a lot of valuable contributions on this particular topic, and so if you have anything you want to add here on why we made this decision, it would be welcome.
So we need the decision to set us up so that we can even make the policy and have that discussion. And the policy, it might change going forward, but based on the current format, recommended format of that policy, it basically outlines caps for each grade. Like there's a recommended cap and then there's an actual physical space cap. And I don't think we would ever go to the actual physical space cap because we need to keep room for students, resident students as they come in. And then as part of that policy also, it talks about, we'll have to go through specific admissions criteria, application process, and all that would need to be determined. We had a policy meeting set up for next week that we were gonna go over a lot of this, but the open enrollment discussion got pushed back from this Thursday to the 12th, and so we're looking to push our policy meeting after that. so that we can maximize our time and implement those into the draft policy as
And,
best as possible.
and to your question, James, the point is to give the most power and control to, starting with our teachers, for our students' benefit and our community benefit. And, you know, we put the guide rails in place and give them the flexibility as much as we can.
And also making sure the fair and equitable access for open enrollment for applications for non-resident students.
I'm really grateful for the explanation, but especially for the hard work and understanding that's behind the explanation. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so all in favor of that one? For a second, I thought you were gonna give me a thumbs down, Nicole. No, that's 5-0.
Good.
Unanimous. Okay, so Article 7, to see if the school district will vote to ratify and approve the tuition agreement between the Jackson School District and Freiburg Academy for a term of 10 school years beginning July 1, 2027 and ending on June 30th, 2037, for the purpose of educating Jackson students in grades 9 through 12 who wish to attend Freiburg Academy. Comments, questions? Do you want to just go to a vote? I mean, we spent a lot of time talking about this contract and going back and forth, so, okay, we all recommend? Is that five? Okay, so that is 5-0 vote on that. Okay. To see if the school will vote to ratify and approve, so we're on to Article 8 then.
Yep.
To see if the school district will vote to ratify and approve the tuition agreement between the Jackson School District and the Conway School District for a term of 5 school years beginning September 2027 and ending on June 30th, 2032, for the purpose of educating Jackson students in grades 9 through 12 who wish to attend Kennett High School. So, I think this bears a little bit of discussion.
Yeah, I asked to discuss this a little bit just because of my experience sort of being taken by surprise and seeing the impact that the capital improvement costs had on our budget process this year. And I think that I still have some uncertainty about the contract that's referenced in this warrant article and how the capital improvement costs would put the Jackson taxpayers at risk. And so I am trying to seek some way to inform Jackson taxpayers as much as possible so that when they are considering the contract and voting on the warrant, they have as much information to make that decision as possible.
Okay, anyone else want to comment on this? This is a good time to,
I think it's important, as we talked about, to have update side-by-side comparisons. So the information which we sent, anything related to the high school contracts will be updated. And it will also reflect those changes and the timing of those changes. And I think that that's important to share that these are different terms.
And that will be mailed to all residents.
That's not all those details, but there's also a flyer that will be mailed to residents to remind them to go learn about it. But the flyer is 1 page. It has lots of information and it has pretty graphics. So that people will be excited to come and help them understand that, to vote.
But is there any way, without biasing the process, is there any way to word the warrant article so as to most fully inform the people who, in that moment, are reading the warrant article and have to vote on it? Yeah.
I mean, I'm struggling with it, James, because part of it is we want to, the onus hopefully will be on folks to educate themselves before that day. And I wouldn't want a voter to get caught up on one line in the warrant article that we felt was important because we've been in this process, right? And so I'm not exactly sure how you would do that without also highlighting some other things that might be important for them to know about, right?
Yeah.
It might be worth it for us to figure out a way to really delineate exactly what has happened and what the deal that people are going to be voting for is, right? I mean, we've tried to be as transparent as possible. It has actually, not because of our actions, but it is coming down to a timeframe that is quite uncomfortable, and I think, you know, making discoveries such as we made at our last meeting, and trying to sort those out in enough time so that people can understand them, puts us in a very difficult position. But, you know, yes.
So you do have options here.
Mhm.
So you've presented a warrant article tonight that can be changed. It's based on a contract that you don't like at the moment, but it's that contract. If the contract changes, then the warrant article is moved and it can't go anymore until you have another budget hearing for it. You can vote to not recommend the warrant article. It still goes on the warrant, and the town gets to vote it up or down. It's just that the school board's recommending against it, 3-2 or
Yeah.
1-4, whatever it is. You also have the option of amending the current warrant article, in which case you're required to have another budget hearing X number, 2 weeks, 10 days, 10 business days from today. So that's another option that you can have. So you can't reword the warrant article tonight and then have it show up on the warrant. You can reword it, have another budget hearing, and then put it on the current warrant.
Thanks, Jerry.
That's helpful, Jeremy, thank you, appreciate that. So I guess, James, what I would throw to you is, you have some time to think about it, and we could change the wording if you, unless you have wording you
No,
want to propose to us.
I think I've been persuaded that, you know, really, I think all along this is a decision that I want the town to have the privilege of making. And I think I agree with you that it's our obligation to bring the best contract that we can to the town, and then let them make the decision, and offer as much information so that they can have questions answered. So, thank you for hearing my, my thoughts, and I feel comfortable with the article the way it is.
Okay, you know, I just want to highlight for folks, because for so long we couldn't talk about it, and now we can talk about it. This has been a very difficult process, and that's fine, we signed up for this is life, right, doing this, but ideally we would have contracts that would be perfect and winsome in every way, that we could just send to you and say, this is 100% perfect. In the end, I don't know if there's a 100% perfect deal that we could present to you. What we did do was we tried to negotiate the best deal we could get for Jackson with Conway. I still think that we've done that because of who we were negotiating with. And for that reason, I agree with you, James, but I want to restate it very clearly for folks, that I think our goal has been to always leave it to the people. And so I think for us to put it forward, number one, I think none of us ever thought we wouldn't do that. But you know, tonight in our non-public, our options were we can present it and we can recommend it. We can present it and not recommend it. We can take it and change it, right? So, you know, our board made a decision to present it, and you know, we'll take our vote now. But if you want to talk about why you might recommend it versus not, or whatever you do, that you're welcome to do that, but you don't have to. So, all right. So with that, let's take a vote. All in favor of recommending the Conway contract to the voters? So that is 4. That's 5. Okay. Okay, so that is unanimous, that we will recommend the Conway contract. And just one other comment, I know we've had folks tell us, you know, don't rush to put a contract forward that you don't think is right. We would not do that. We would never put something forward that we didn't think was the best that we could do and that would serve our students and would serve you. So that's what we were doing, and that was the agreement we came to on November 11th, and we were going to stand by that. So, all right, thank you. Let's move on. Next up, we have Article 9. We're at the end. Okay, to see if the school district.
Have we done, oh yeah,
Yep.
sorry.
You can add extras, James, as much fun as this is. Okay. Article 9, see if the school district will vote to authorize the school board to enter into a 3-year tuition agreement between the Bartlett School District and the Jackson School District for the education of Jackson's middle school, grades 7 to 8 students, as negotiated by the school board, which provides for an initial term beginning on July 1st, 2026, and ending on June 30th, 2029. The agreement automatically to be renewed unless either party notifies the other of its intention not to renew, and further to authorize the school board to submit the agreement to the State Board of Education for approval pursuant to RSA 194-22, and to authorize the school board to take such other and further acts necessary to give effect to this resolution, including the adoption of minor amendments to the agreement from time to time during its term without further action by the school district meeting. And that's a mouthful, but what I do want to point out is all of our tuition agreements have to be approved by the state. So So with that, any comments, questions, or can you go to a vote? Approval? All right, that's unanimous again, Melissa. Okay, thank you. And Article 10, actually probably the most important, to transact any other business that may legally come before this meeting. No, that will just be up to them. So we will have a warrant for folks to sign, and we will look forward to future meetings with everyone and answering questions.
And tonight we're to sign it? No.
No, we would sign it. Do we have a copy tonight? Oh, we do. Oh, excellent. Okay, yeah, so we'll pass that around. Okay, so let's keep moving then.
Will that edit be made into that one?
Yeah, because we have that one edit.
It's just the signature page.
Oh, okay, we will change it. Okay. All right.
Nice.
Okay, so let's move on then to 9 administrators' reports. Jerry, thank you for that information. Okay, all right. Board member issues, board discussion. Number 1, committee reports. Jackson Personnel Committee, I know your minutes were in there, we took a good read. Do you have anything you want to add?
Nope.
Okay. Number
I
2.
like the caution. Yay, good job.
Okay, nice, okay. Number 2, I added this at the last minute, not the last minute, at the beginning of the meeting. I've had some questions from you all. Superintendent evaluations are due actually by tomorrow. So some of you had presented some questions to me. I presented them to Nancy Kellerman, and she is in her own stretch of work, but she was able to get back to me. Part of the issue that we had was that there are some odd dates on these, what was saved, and the way the document reads, it says the evaluation is for fall 2023 and things like that. And so, and it really wasn't clear how if we evaluated with these numbers or if we,
Totally.
it was really difficult. So we have some explanation from her, and I think it is worth just reading out for folks because we're always trying to educate people. So they were not able to they want to make a better evaluation tool, but they haven't been able to do it because they haven't had time because of tuition contracts and health insurance changes. So they have to use the current tool due to contractual obligations. So they haven't voted to make any changes, which is why it says 2023. Regarding the ratings, the evaluation reflects the current practice in education to use a rubric-style evaluation to determine levels of performance for the superintendent. Each section contains particular indicators with specific criteria to rate the performance level. The levels are scored on a score of highly effective, number 4, effective, number 3, developing 2, and ineffective 1. So for each section, you should give an individual rating, and then you will go down and average the numbers and give that number.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause it for a moment.
Yep.
Ineffective is 1. It's like 1 to 4, highly effective. Okay, just clarify.
Yes, yeah. So
I
you
have
put,
so many thoughts about how this would be better.
oh, I know. Yeah, I thought about it myself. So,
I
so
really feel that 4.5.
We were looking for people to join the committee.
yeah.
Reviving the tool,
Yeah.
but nobody
Yeah.
was asking volunteer.
Well, I think you'll have some volunteers this year for sure. So how the process works. So fill it out and let's get it back to them.
We have to do it physically?
And then we did it. So I did mine. I took a PDF and I edited it because I have the software. If you all, I think Nicole, you did it and you just cut and pasted. I'm not
I did
sure.
a Word document.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is
But I don't know if I did it right.
basically. I think any way we get it to them, they're going to look at it and they're going to do something with it.
Okay.
So I
We
brought
have
physical
two,
copies.
Technology
Yeah.
positions
Are we
in the
supposed to
SAU,
sign
don't
it?
we?
I don't think you have to sign it. So, but I brought hard copies and I will make myself available. Okay, so if anyone has it, you want to fill it out, Britt, give it to me, or you can send it in yourself. Just make sure you get it to them because it is a major part of our job. So thank you. Okay, date for the next school board meeting will be Tuesday, February 24th at 6 p.m. At 5 o'clock, we will have a coffee chat with some folks. Other upcoming meetings, Jackson Policy Meeting. It says here February 9th, Monday, but we've moved that due to the legislature meeting on the 12th about open enrollment, so we will meet after that. That meeting was to be determined, so please do not mark your calendars for February 9th. The S89 Executive Committee is Thursday, February 12th at 5 p.m. Melinda, can you make that one, because I'm out of town?
I don't know, I don't
Wait,
know.
Can we check? The Executive Committee is February 12th.
I'll get back to you.
Okay. And then we just want to remind folks that the last day to register to vote is February 28th. The filing dates for office have passed, and I think we did end up with folks. Do we have?
There's a rumor that
There's a rumor that we have folks. Some nods. Okay. Great. Okay. Well, Look at how much fun you're gonna have if you join us. Okay. Yeah, okay. Actually, for those who have signed up, please feel free to ask us questions or reach out about anything, because tonight is really an extraordinary night. We usually are a little bit more efficient and quick.
There's been a lot of work to do.
This has been a lot of work to do, and we really do want to just make sure people are understanding what's happening. So, last day for petitioned articles, February 4th, Jackson School District Annual Meeting, Thursday, March 5th at 7 p.m. Town elections, March 10th, 8 to 7. Town meeting, March 12th, 7 o'clock at the Whitney Community Center. And with that, I will turn it back to citizen comments. Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
Jess, did you want to mention childcare on the?
Oh, please do, please do.
Yeah. The PTO is working with the school to set up childcare during the March 5th meeting to allow maximum attendance for families.
And thank you to Nora Beam, I think, who's coordinating all of that. We really are lucky. I mean, we've had people like coordinating, sorting out things for us, and you know, you don't have to sit on the board to help us out. We really appreciate it. So thank you.
And before we adjourn, I just want to point out that the Jackson Yetis were in action this afternoon. And we have Jackson Yeti who came in second. We have a Jackson Yeti who came in third. And Jackson Yeti who won the costume contest.
All right, I thought I saw some better around some folks.
The costume was a coyote Rubik's Cube.
Wow.
It was a combo costume.
Because that's as hard to understand as some of the things we did tonight. Wait, what just happened? Okay. All right, well, motion to adjourn?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Stay.
All right, board, please stay and sign, and thank you to the public and everyone else who's here.
Thank you.